Welcome, Armchair Generals, Weekend Warriors, and Saturday Soldiers alike. My name is Ostentatiousness, and God forbid I ever actually do this fucking properly. When last we left off, I recorded an entire episode without my microphone turned on. Yep. So, we'll be redoing Kasserine Past, which, when last time we left off, we had just dashed what few forces then Colonel Sheridan had at his disposal, including elements he stole from the 1st Armoured Division, to Kasserine, where the 1st Armoured Division then got butchered, because presumably because they didn't have those anti-tank guns I stole, and were forced to fall back. Now, I'm not sure if I raised the issue in the Kasserine video or in the Taking Command video, but as a point, why didn't the Italians and Germans just strongpoint Kasserine and then just roll the bulk of their troops past? I mean, I need to do some more reading on the battle itself in real life, but in this game, there's like 4 anti-tank guns and 30 men defending this entire city. I understand that the defensive network across the entire network of passes, and the Germans just, they couldn't really crack it like they're demonstrating here. This is a bit somewhat ahistorical, but the Germans would be smarter than, rather than attacking one by one, strongpoint the town and then just bypass it. Anyway, one other thing I actually learned, choose chapter, I was 4 missions from the end. I didn't actually finish that one, though. I will try not to spoil it. Yeah, so there's 4 North African missions, 4 Italian missions, 3 French missions, 3 Dutch missions, 3 Belgian missions, and then 5 German missions. 6 if you count the prologue. So, without further ado, let us do further. Wargamer. Yes. So, now, I'll bring this up when, we get into the game.
We were right, Campbell. Rommel was targeting Kasserine.
Worse than
that, he's mobilized armor from the Italian R.U.S.E division.
Look at the layout of the city. There are 4 points of entry.
That means 4 points to defend. Do you think it's possible?
It should be, as long as I deploy the anti-tank guns intelligently.
Excellent. I'll see what I can do to provide you with reconnaissance. Major, you'd better hurry with your defensive positions. Their attack could come at any minute.
Don't worry,
sir, a
that's
recon
what I'm doing.
plane is on its way.
You'll want to use
So,
those
for
anti-tank
deploying
guns at their
the
maximum
infantry,
range, Major. Deploy them so that each one has several lines of fire. It'll greatly improve our chances.
to take advantage.
What about infantry, sir? Our boys don't have anti-tank weapons.
To compensate for the
They
fact
won't be
that
sitting still, Kowalski. They'll have to protect our guns from the enemy's infantry.
Jesus
Major,
Christ.
the reconnaissance aeroplane is over your area.
For deploying my... Forgot the pause button here. So for deploying the infantry and then taking advantage of the greater range of the anti-tank guns, infantry is going to have to close within infantry range to engage my infantry. So if I have my anti-tank guns in line with my infantry, I risk losing those. True, I believe it was... Yeah, well, no, it's definitely Trilby Space Clone who commented on it. But...
Enemy movement detected south of your position.
I can't remember which video it was on, but that the AI actually engages in battle and it makes it feel alive. You got this a lot in a lot of older strategy games like Age of Mythology. You saw
Alert!
it a lot.
Enemy
where,
aircraft inbound.
You'll watch the French get the piss
Inauspicious
beaten
news,
out of them
that.
again. You know, you'd be doing your mission, and the enemy would, for at least the Trojan
Sir,
war
we lost
campaign-
the Grasshopper.
Oh,
The
God, that's
recon
again
plane is
play.
down.
The enemy, the allies would actually be fighting the enemy, and it's... Why do they always drop it on my dudes?
They shot down the recon plane. We're blind now.
You mind? I'm talking to my audience.
Perhaps, but not deaf. Thanks to a few geniuses in a little place called Bletchley Park, we can decrypt their transmissions.
You mean we can listen in on them? Well, why the hell haven't we been doing that the last couple of days?
Well, if I'd had my way, we would have done. Regardless, we should be able to receive the German messages as they're given.
Well, that gives us a fighting chance. How do we do it?
Well, you select the zone you want to listen to. I'll find the frequency and activate the system.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Let's see how this works.
I've never actually like just refused to do that and lose. The ruse number on the top left corner displays the number of ruses available. Ta-da! Click on the top, well, left click, in my case right click, on the top left corner icon to open the ruse menu. Ta-da! Click on the ruse to select it. Ta-da! Then click on the sector where you want the ruse to activate. Ta-da!
Encryption of their transmission is underway. Encryption is now active.
Yeah, and you see that in a lot of older games. I mean, they're probably very basic
Look,
scripts,
Major,
but it
we
makes the
can
game feel more
anticipate the
alive.
Axis movements. Remember that you can tap into their communications, Major. If you don't break the codes and learn their movements, we'll have to fall back.
Unit reports damage. Fuck you. We're useless.
Attention, Major. The R.U.S.E division has been ordered to attack from the south.
So the map actually should be oriented this way. Don't worry, Montgomery's going to be hauling us up that road eventually. Probably should have explained this before I realized how fucked up the video. Sorry about the bit of radio silence. I was very sick Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I've pretty much this is the first chance I've had to actually sit down and record since then. So I'm going to be pushing for one video a day, although I will be doing another ruse video after this. I will try for videos of ruse during the day.
Unit under sustained fire.
Or during the week, and during the week, and on the weekend I'll try for uplink videos, just because I can just sit down and smash those down in large blocks.
Our AT guns are all that stand between us and those tanks. Try to keep them in one piece.
Though classified as a medium tank by the Italian army, the M1139, I believe that was when it was introduced, was actually an ultralight tank. It had minimal armor and a feeble 37mm gun that was mounted case missile. By the way, the Italians have pretty much been fighting since the start of World War. Actually, before the start of World War I. They have been fighting the war against the Ethiopians before this. So, just to give you some perspective.
They will be attacking from the west, sir.
Yeah, the Italians never built good. The Italians never really built good land or air systems during the war. Yeah, so I won't be doing a video Friday because the podcast I'm on, The Geek in Me, with D-Time the Awesome Gamer, I will post the link to his Twitch channel in the video description. We'll be doing the first anniversary of his podcast, well, our podcast. I kind of jumped on halfway in. So I'll be doing that instead of the usual video. So
Incoming infantry. Get ready, boys.
Phil sent me
You'll have to deploy your infantry to protect your
37mm gun was mounted case missile, rendering vulnerable on its flanks. Unfortunately, the two 8mm machine guns in the turret gave the blah 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 a role as an anti-infantry weapon. Deploying these in great numbers as vehicles as infantry support to hit fast and run faster is the best way to achieve victory over technologically superior opponents. To further expand upon that, how you use Italian tanks was you basically, in the game at least, you draw the enemy into, how do I explain this? So if I'm playing Italy, you kite the enemy, you constantly badger them, you attack them just a little bit at a time, and eventually you draw the enemy to a fixed line of defenses. I believe the Italians have a 100mm anti-tank gun, which is fucking beautiful. It's either them or it's the Japanese that have it, but you basically draw the enemy into fixed fortifications, weaken their army, deploy your much faster army, and raid their bases. When the Germans are done dunking on Combat Command B, I didn't even get a name. When the Germans are done dunking on Combat Command B, they'll end the mission by taking up here.
Unit reports engagement in progress.
P-40 Warhawk. So yeah, I believe I've mentioned this now 3 times. The P-40 was not a great plane. It was not a bad plane. It was certainly better than a lot of, it's quite a few Axis planes. But the issue of the P-40, well, the thing about the P-40 is if you had 400 of them against, say,
Italian armored units moving in from the east.
240...
You'll have to maintain a defensive position, Major.
R.U.S.E
They'll
cards...
cut us to pieces out in the open.
R.U.S.E cards last a limited amount of time, but you can stack them for a longer effect. You know, if the enemy had 240 Focke-Wulf 190s and you had 400 P-40s, and you both destroyed, say, 200 enemy aircraft, the various allied groups that were building the P-40 would replace that loss, you know, by the end of the 3-week campaign.
Excellent
So
work,
functionally,
Major.
you've lost
None of them
no
have
planes.
breached your defenses.
So it wasn't a great plane. By most standards, it was a pretty bad plane, but it was easy enough to build, it was simple enough to maintain, it was reliable enough in combat that none of that really mattered. Shit. We'll show you some infantry.
Reporting. Unit under sustained fire.
So you got some infantry. So, as I believe I've also mentioned about 6 times now, infantry, towed anti-tank guns, and towed anti-aircraft guns, woo, Rangers, travel along roads. So you basically want to set up an ambush point near a road. When they're being transported by road, they're fucking defenseless. So I'm not going to get any infantry from you. Once I destroy these tanks, I'm just going to be bum rushing them with my airborne, well, my infantry. The US Airborne...
They're sending infantry and armor this time.
...actually has one of the major advantages. I believe it's one of the few airbornes that actually... I think they all need to be researched, but it doesn't really need to be upgraded. But one advantage that the US Airborne enjoys is they're much... Again, from actually deploy fast or train faster and are cheaper than most other airborne, kind of alluding at the fact that the Americans
That's it.
basically
A unit of the 21st Panzer is advancing
basically
on
just
Kasserine from the
mass
north.
produce their war machine. Like, and that's not to be disparaging to the Americans. Their war machine was basically mass production, from the infantry down to from the infantry down to the tanks. Like the American war machine was as mass producible as you could make a war machine. Just have to send one of these up here. So these Rangers are just fucking the Bersaglieri. Those Bersaglieri are the most
Impressive,
elite
Major.
infantry
So
Italy
far,
can
none of their
deploy.
assaults have got through.
Even in the real world, even in actual history, they were the best of the Italian. And just to watch them just get stomped by the Americans like that. Like, again, the Italians get a lot of shit. And they certainly were a very inefficient war machine. But they weren't pushovers. They, again, ran their military very inefficiently. Their war machines were very underpowered compared to everyone else. But they had experience. It's like how people give the French shit for surrendering. It's like, yeah, but they basically had the entire weight of the Wehrmacht and Italian armies fall on them at once. Like, this is... Also, sorry, I just love how the airborne who just deployed from air have trucks. Yeah, the French and the Italians get a lot of shit, but... You know, the Grande Armée, the French were not, and the legions of Rome, the Italians were not, but they did their best with what they had, even if what they had wasn't especially good. Panzer IV, and again, I believe this is a Panzer IV J. I'll get confirmation when I pick up more again. I believe the Panzer IV
Incoming Panzer IV.
H had a shorter barrel.
Ready yourself, Major. It's one of a dangerous new breed.
No, it isn't.
Receiving report. Enemy unit destroyed.
This is actually not inaccurate. Those 57s probably could have destroyed the Panzer IV.
Cherries are pulling back.
Its main
We did
advantage
it.
was the armored skirts and the
And
spacing it
without
had
losing
around
any of our AT
the
guns.
turret.
Quite impressive, Major.
But to most hits, it was pretty vulnerable. Anyway. So that has been this episode of R.U.S E. I've been Ostentatious Listeners. You've hopefully all